Do not misunderstand it. This is not power of your creation. It's another Madara quote. He has a really good English voice actor. He has a very resonant voice. It's hard to mimic, because if your voice is not resonant, it's very difficult to get that tone to carry when you're doing an imitation. But I like his voice a lot. His voice actor has a beautiful voice. He doesn't always sound like that, but he does have the resonance I was describing. Let's get back to it. So, Sasuke Uchiha. The Sauce. Our boy the Sauce. He's in the Infinite Tsukiyomi, and he doesn't much like it. Here's his story of what he does in the World of Dreams in Konoha. So Sasuke believes that this waiting period Madara has forced them to be a part of, to undergo, to test the World of Dreams, to see if they will switch sides and join Madara's vision of the world instead of the real world. Sasuke believes this is a complete waste of time, kind of like Naruto, and he doesn't want to spend time with Team 7 anyways, so he takes his leave of Team 7 after they discuss the nature of the memory clones, or after they gather intel on the memory clones, whatever. I just need an excuse for Team 7 to know about the memory clones and the situation with them. Sasuke leaves. He doesn't hang out with Naruto or Sakura or Kakashi. He goes around Konoha, or the outside of Konoha. He's trying to find Madara again, trying to use his new 6-path chakra. He doesn't find anything. He doesn't sense him at all. And he kind of just sulks alone for a while. And eventually he wanders over to the outskirts of Konoha, where the Uchiha clan used to reside. If you look at a top-down view of Konoha, the whole outskirts of Konoha, banishing the Uchiha to the distant outskirts of Konoha, doesn't really make any sense, because Konoha is an enclosed village with a wall, and it's full. There is no empty space in Konoha. So, the outskirts of Konoha are not in canon, they don't appear to be alleyways or deserted buildings or anything like that. There is no space between the Uchiha and the core of Konoha, actually. So in canon, the Uchiha were really upset that they felt they were sidelined and banished to the outskirts of Konoha. I guess it's hard to do geography, and Kishimoto just didn't really do it properly. That's fine. That wasn't what he was trying to do with telling the story. But in canon, the outskirts are just not, they're just part of the village. They're just the Uchiha could have been anywhere. It makes no difference. They're just near the wall. In this retelling, the outskirts would sensibly be actual outskirts, the rough part of Konoha, where there aren't a lot of public buildings, or they are meaningly, visibly separated from the actual core of Konoha, so that it makes sense that the Uchiha would have been upset to be forced to live in the sort of rundown part, maybe we'll say, of Konoha, away from everybody else, so that this distinction and this this is, it's understandably insulting to them in this context. It actually makes sense. So that's where Sasuke goes. He goes to the outskirts to see what's there in this world. And he doesn't find anything there. There aren't any buildings there anymore at all. In fact, all the Uchiha clan buildings are gone, even the ones that were still standing in his day when he lived in Konoha. And he doesn't see the crest anywhere. In fact, the only thing that's still in this section of Konoha is the Naka Shrine, which has the famous Uchiha stone tablet in the basement. And it's looking dilapidated and old and it's not been tended to. And Sasuke abruptly stops and narrows his eyes as his new abilities, his 6-path Sage Chakra, allows him to sense somebody coming up from behind him. And he declares that he can sense the person who is spying on him. And who is it but Itachi in a new SP card? It's Itachi Uchiha. And Itachi says his famous line, "How much do your eyes see?" He asks Sasuke this, which I take it to mean sort of like how much of the behind the scenes stuff that is going on do you really understand? That's kind of what I think Itachi means when he asks Sasuke this question in canon. And Sasuke is sort of annoyed that his brother would appear in this copy form, this form that he sees as a copy or an imperfect memory clone. So he ponders how strong a copy of Itachi could be, and he appears behind him. Sasuke appears behind him and starts to whack him with his sword, cuts right through him, and Itachi bursts into ravens. So they would have a bit of a genjutsu bout, a bit of a genjutsu battle, similar to what they do the time Sasuke and Itachi fought for real. And they keep upping the intensity of their moves, and they keep appearing behind each other and appearing on stone thrones and such, much like the canon fight. And eventually, Sasuke berates Itachi, telling him his technique, his genjutsu is weak, and tells him with Sasuke's eyes now, he could even break Itachi's Tsukiyomi easily. Like Itachi's, his level of technique won't have any effect on Sasuke anymore, says Sasuke. Which prompts Itachi to suddenly sort of freeze time, what appears to be freeze time. The wind in the grass and, the sun and the leaves and everything is completely still, indicating to Sasuke that he is under some kind of genjutsu. And Itachi tells him as much. And Sasuke considers the situation because after he learned that Itachi was a good guy, or at least that Itachi was not trying to kill him in real life, after he learned that, Sasuke started to wonder, did he really break out of Itachi's Tsukiyomi? Because he appears to do that in their fight. But after their fight, he learns Itachi was not really trying to kill him at all. He learns this from the masked man, who turns out to be Obito. So Sasuke has always had this nagging doubt in his mind after that moment that maybe he actually did not have the technique required to break Tsukiyomi. Maybe Itachi let him win, kind of thing. So given the circumstances, Sasuke says, this is only happening. I'm only not able to break your technique right now because you're made up of my memories. And in my memory, I doubted that I really broke Itachi's Tsukiyomi back when we fought. So this is just recycling my memory. It's recycling my own doubt about what I was capable of back then. And that's the only reason why I can't break your Tsukiyomi right now. And Itachi charitably tells Sasuke that Sasuke probably could break his Tsukiyomi in the real world, but not here. Not in the infinite Tsukiyomi, where his technique is the most powerful it's ever been. And Sasuke is surprised at this. How does Itachi know about the infinite Tsukiyomi? He's just a clone. He's just a memory man. How could he possibly know? Shouldn't he have the memory blocked the same as everybody? And so he asks Itachi, how does he know? How does he know the nature of reality in this fake world? And Itachi says, because unlike all the other memory clones, a part of him really exists here in this fake world. A part of him which allowed him to remember everything the real Itachi has seen. This is distinct from the other memory clones. The other memory clones only have other people's memories of them. Itachi says he has the real Itachi's memory. How could this be? What does he mean by a real part of him was brought into the illusion? And Sasuke slowly reaches up to his eyes. Of course. Itachi's real eyes. The eyes that saw everything in Itachi's entire life up to the moment he died. Sasuke has them in his head. They're Itachi's real eyes. And he gestures to his eyes, and Itachi nods, and tells him that because he brought Itachi's own eyes into the Infinite Tsukiyomi, his real eyes, everything his eyes have seen have been transferred to Itachi's memory clone through the dictates of the Infinite Tsukiyomi. It worked just like for all the other memory clones. The memories that exist of a person are transferred to them, and in this case, Itachi's real memories were transferred to him through the presence of his real eyes. Now, why would that happen? Well, Itachi is pretty handy with fail-safes and eye programming, if you can call it that. He seems to treat eyeballs as though they're just like open computer systems. He can program seemingly anything into eyes. He does it on multiple occasions, which we will speak more about later. It is plausible that Itachi could have either made his eyes, either programmed his memories into his eyes for some future unforeseen use, even if he didn't know the Infinite Tsukiyomi was going to be cast, and he didn't know the whole plan. He usually has a trick up his sleeve to turn a situation around. And it certainly would be within his power to program or create a feature of his eyes to this extent. Maybe his intent was to show Sasuke his memories one day or something like that. Whatever the case, whatever the justification, Itachi, as a memory clone, has his real memories. And Sasuke asks him, why would Madara allow that? And even if you do have your memories, how can you get around the mental block about learning about the Infinite Tsukiyomi? And Itachi explains that Madara has never heard of Itachi. He never met him when he was reanimated, and he didn't live in the same period, so he doesn't know anything about Itachi at all. He's never learned about him. Unlike Obito, who does know a lot about Itachi, Madara doesn't, because Madara has been dead this whole time and only recently brought back to life. So he's not been filled in about Itachi at all. He doesn't know Itachi is the only person in the history of the Uchiha to have the Tsukiyomi technique in his left eye. I think it's his left eye. So because of that, Itachi has some insight into what is going on with Madara's Infinite Tsukiyomi. Insight that other people might not have, because it's the same technique, just a much bigger scale. So Itachi explains that the Tsukiyomi allows the user to manipulate reality for the target, in his case, one target, and you can mess with space and time, but you have to consciously shape the illusion to your will. And Itachi says this is normally not a problem for a single target, like his technique uses, since you can devote all of your focus to it. But on a global scale, this is a huge problem. Itachi says Madara doesn't have the mental resources to focus on every place in the world and person in the world at once, and since his Ten-Tails form is incomplete, possessing only a shred of the 8 and 9 Tails chakra, which is glossed over in canon. It's almost like it doesn't matter at all. They got a tiny tentacle of the 8 Tails, and they got the Kinkaku 9 Tails chakra, and then they were like, well, okay, do the plan. We didn't need Naruto and B after all. Just do the plan. So in this what if scenario, there is actually some reckoning of this. Like, Madara's Infinite Tsukiyomi isn't perfect, and it's because he's missing the 9 Tails and the full 8 Tails. They jumped the gun, and as a result of that, Madara is sort of having to take shortcuts to administer this Genjutsu worldwide. So he's having the people who are in it sort of passively participate in the creation of the illusion by having their memories sort of sent into these memory clones, the people who died, the clones of them. So this is Itachi's explaining that this takes some of the onus, some of the work off of Madara, and spreads the effort of maintaining the illusion onto everybody who lives in it. But it also means there are some blind spots for Madara. And he does not know Sasuke brought Itachi's eyes into this world, or that Itachi can use a smaller version of Tsukiyomi. And Itachi says this means he has the key to this whole world, basically. And that inside the illusion of infinite Tsukiyomi, now Itachi's technique is much stronger. It doesn't just change the perception of a single target, it can warp the very nature of reality, because they are all inside of an illusion. So Itachi can sort of hack the illusion, if you will. On a much smaller scale, he can't just flip a switch and turn the whole thing off. It's way too big for that. But he can certainly manipulate parts of it and change small local parts of it. And in fact, Itachi says that right now, he's speaking to Sasuke inside of his Tsukiyomi, Itachi's Mangekyo ability. So he has warped reality around them to make it seem like nothing is going on, or make it seem like they're having a normal conversation, not about the infinite Tsukiyomi, so that Madara will not be suspicious if he was to direct his attention to Sasuke and Itachi right now at this moment. So that's what Itachi tells him. So Itachi says, I have my real memories. I have this huge ace in the hole that Madara doesn't know about for breaking this illusion. I can't just break it with one cast of Tsukiyomi, but we have a lot of potential to do something. Oh no. I'm sorry. The new phone, it's not balanced. There's a lot of potential to do something with this, says Itachi. There we go. So Sasuke says, what do we do then? What's your plan? What are we going to do now? And Itachi says he'll think about it, and they should just act naturally, as though they're living in the dream world, with the time Madara allotted, and that they should only speak about sort of plans or breaking the infinite Tsukiyomi if they're in Itachi's illusion world, if they're in Itachi's little mini cover when he uses Tsukiyomi to make it look like there's nothing suspicious going on. So Sasuke asks, well, okay, where are we going? Or Itachi says, let's go. And Sasuke's like, where? What do you mean? And Itachi says, well, we're going home, obviously. All right. A moment. A Sakura moment. A Sakura interlude. Okay? A Sakura interlude. We cut away from the brothers. So Sakura, she's checked out the illusion world. She's seen some gags, seen some gaffes, had some fun. But she's starting to realize that it isn't going to matter what her answer is at the end of this, whether she tells Madara, no, I don't want to live in an illusion, or yes, this dream world is perfect, because once again, her teammates, Naruto and Sasuke, have hopelessly eclipsed her. She isn't going to be able to fight Madara. She isn't going to have the time to heal anybody, because they aren't fighting him with a huge army anymore, with lots of distractions. They're just a 4-person team. So there's nothing to stop Madara from just killing Sakura, even with her healing abilities sort of maxed out, even with her 100 healing seal. So Sakura needs an ace in the hole. She needs a special ability to push her beyond Tsunade, her teacher. You know, the other two seem to have eclipsed their teachers. Naruto perfected Sage Mode, which Jiraiya could not. Sasuke has become wildly powerful and has a god eye, which Orochimaru did not achieve. Sakura's got to surpass Tsunade. So she summons a little Katsuyu, and they have a brief talk that you don't immediately hear on screen or on page, I guess, if this was a manga. And Sakura desummons herself and the slug, and they disappear from Konoha. Okay, we will not find out the implications of this until later. Okay, back to our boys. Let's change out the cards for fun. There we go. Back to our boys. Itachi, Sasuke. They leave the village outskirts. They make their way into the village proper, the center of Konoha. And as they move through the more populated areas, Sasuke notices more and more Uchiha fan symbols on public buildings, on flags, on people's clothing. And people are bowing to them as they go by. And some people are sort of whispering excitedly when they see Sasuke and Itachi. And when they get close to the Hokage's building, the big round Hokage office, Sasuke realizes there is now a second similar building with the Uchiha crest on it. And it is revealed that Fugaku, Sasuke's dad, is also the Hokage. He is an Uchiha Hokage. Tsunade is still the Hokage too, but now they have a 2-Kage system. One is always an Uchiha, and one is not necessarily always a Senju, but whoever else would fill the role. And this is actually similar to canon, because at the end of the canon story, Naruto and Sasuke kind of work out this same situation where Sasuke is also holding the rank of Hokage, sort of, but he works in the field, gathering intel and suppressing, rogue elements, whereas Naruto is in the office doing the paperwork and lives in Konoha, whatever. So this, I guess, is potentially a real thing that might happen in a what-if scenario, since it does happen in canon. Sasuke sees on the street those 2 old fucks who are like counselors in Konoha. You know the 2. It's like an old woman and an old man. And they are like the elders of Konoha. They always agree with everything Danzo says. And they put a stop to any good ideas Hiruzen says. They're always berating Tsunade. They're always on board with anything evil that Danzo wants to do, and they're completely opposed to anything good any other Hokage wanted to do ever. They are complicit in the Uchiha massacre. They're just these 2 monstrous old fucks who, in canon, never get their comeuppance. They never... There's no reckoning. I think they're still alive in Boruto. I mean, people like to say Boruto isn't canon, which I kind of... I'd be inclined to agree with their point. But the point is, you know who I'm talking about. These 2 old counselors, these old fucks, what are they doing in the illusion world, in the Infinite Tsukiyomi? Well, they're begging on the street. They got no jobs. They're not counselors anymore. They're just poor, sort of unhappy, very needy, two of the only unhappy people in the Infinite Tsukiyomi, I would say. And I guess the characters would speculate if this is the handiwork of Madara, condemning people who had a role in the Uchiha massacre, which Madara technically did not do that, I guess. Like, Obito oversaw that, and Itachi himself, and like Danzo and other characters. I don't know if Madara ever explicitly says, like, part of the plan is that we have to kill all the Uchiha. It's sort of implied that he has a falling out with the other Uchiha because they don't back him anymore when he is still alive, and when he fights Hashirama. I don't know if Madara ever wanted his whole clan to die. It seems counterintuitive. I mean, he certainly didn't want his family to die, and part of why the Leaf Village is founded is because Madara and Hashirama don't want their families to die, and they don't want their younger siblings to die. Madara's already lost his family, and Hashirama, I think, maybe has lost most of his family, except for his brother, Tobirama. But long story short, it seems like Madara would maybe have contempt for these old bastards, these 2 who were complicit in the Uchiha genocide. So Sasuke sees them, and they sort of like placate him. They're like, "Oh wow, Lord Son Uchiha, wow, you're so magnificent. Oh, we're so lucky that we get to just be in your presence." And Sasuke considers just murdering them because they're horrible people, but they're so meek and they're so sort of pathetic, and they're so, sort of like forced to supplicate him in this pathetic way that Sasuke doesn't feel like it would even be worth it in this situation because of how powerless they are and because their lives have sort of been like flipped upside down. He would prefer that they just live like this kind of as atonement for their misdeeds. All right. So the Uchiha part of town is now Central Konoha. That's right. They don't have to live in the horrible outskirts of near the wall right next to where everybody else lives, as they do in canon. A terrible fate to be condemned to live in a part of Konoha that is next to all the rest of Konoha. They're in the center of Konoha now. That's where all the Uchiha buildings are. They were just moved, I guess. And they are well respected. They're the most influential clan in Konoha. Everybody loves the Uchiha. This is one, I guess, major difference between real life and the illusion. Madara has hand spun this world to be pro-Uchiha, which is kind of what he always wanted to do. He knew that as soon as Tobirama became the Hokage, the Uchihas were totally fucked. He foresaw that, he said that. So I think it stands to reason in an ideal world of his crafting, he would make the Uchiha, a big deal in Konoha, at least. So Sasuke returns to his much nicer, bigger house, since he is the son of an acting Hokage. And for the first time since he was a child, Sasuke has a family dinner with Makoto, that's his mom, Fugaku, his dad, and Itachi. And Makoto is pregnant with Sasuke's younger sibling, who is not yet born. Makoto is dead. She's a memory clone. But nonetheless, in this world, their family would be expanding. And Fugaku, Sasuke's dad, comes home, and they sit down together at the table, just like old times. And, Fugaku is a loving father, like Sasuke wanted. He's acknowledging him. He's praising him. And throughout this experience, the sort of gaping emotional hole in Sasuke created from the loss of his family and his whole community sort of begins to heal as it's filled in with these positive interactions. It feels like his clan is respected, he is respected, he has the love of his living family, he is now acknowledged by his father. He's kind of gotten everything that he really wanted, that he was so bitter to have lost. So that scene transitions to nighttime. Itachi and Sasuke are hanging out on the rooftop, and Itachi has once again put Sasuke inside of his Tsukiyomi to sort of block out Madara from noticing. So Itachi asks Sasuke if he could extend any of his six-path sage chakra to anyone else and free them of the influence of infinite Tsukiyomi so they could have more allies to try to stage some kind of rebellion against Madara. And Sasuke asks why he would want to do that, considering the Uchiha are alive and honored in this world, but they're dead and despised in the real one. Itachi argues that the true meaning of a ninja is one who endures, and that there can be no meaning in a life in life inside of a fantasy world where there is no need to endure in this world anymore. All the sacrifices from the real world are meaningless, and people will never be able to face the pain and grow from it or choose to make the world better themselves because the choice has sort of been taken from them. Sasuke counters by saying that even if the world did become a better place, the Uchiha are gone forever. And with him as the last living Uchiha, no matter how many children he fathered, if he did, the Uchiha blood would be doomed. It would thin out, and their line, their legacy, their clan would be effectively dead. Sasuke says his life has been dominated by revenge, but once he achieves it in any form it takes, he won't ever get his old life back, which is why he wanted revenge in the first place. He was sad that this humble life was taken from him, of, having the love of a mother and father and a brother. And Sasuke says, and this is true of his canon appearance at the end of Naruto, before he fights with Naruto, he says he was willing to have every ninja village in the world fear him and act as kind of this shared threat. Like if Sasuke was so powerful that every ninja village in the world would have to unite against him, kind of a Madara level threat, where if ninja villages were to fight each other, Sasuke would just kill them. The only thing keeping them alive would be their solidarity against a greater threat. And, Sasuke points out that this sort of did work with Madara. Like, Madara was the enemy. All the villages came together immediately and stopped fighting with one another, and worked in tandem with one another. So if Sasuke was coming up with a solution to suffering. His solution to suffering was, I'll be a bad guy, and anyone who doesn't join hands and join forces against me, I'll just destroy them. Their whole village will be annihilated because I have the Rinnegan and I have Susanoo and I've got a million billion powers that is just too great for anyone to stop me. So they can either be unified or be obliterated, and those are the only options. Except in this world, Sasuke has found that Madara's solution is actually even better than his solution, because now Sasuke doesn't have to be the object of endless ridicule. He doesn't have to be the enemy of the world. He can just live with his family. So far less suffering and death. Itachi reminds Sasuke that their true family is dead and that these are just simulacrums made by Madara. And Sasuke doesn't say anything to that, and the two sit in silence under the moon. And that is the end of that chapter. That's Sasuke and Itachi. So when we come back, we will discuss the plan. What are they going to do? How are they going to pull it off? Are they going to break free from the illusion? Are they going to be stuck forever? What are the different answers that they will come up with? Team 7. Will they say the illusion is good? Will they say it's bad? Where's my Naruto card? There it is. What will these four say? What will they plan with regards to the Infinite Tsukiyomi? We shall see next time.